Hey guys, what's up? This is Matthew Davis Media, and oh no, guys, it is time for me to talk about my picks for the top 10 worst movies of 2017. I already accomplished my video of the best movies of 2017. Now it's time for me to talk about my worst. Now, if you're wondering, I didn't review every single one of these movies. I haven't seen all these films in the theaters, mainly because I didn't want to waste my money on these films. So I pretty much waited till Redbox. But I assure you guys, every single one of these movies I have seen, even the honorable mentions I'm about to say. There just weren't too many bad movies that I wanted to talk about. And I didn't review most of these movies mainly because I didn't want to waste my time talking about them, talking about how bad they were. But for the most part, I will talk about what I hated about these movies when I talk about them in this video. Alright, now before I get into it, I have a couple of dishonorable mentions, and those are Resident Evil, The Final Chapter, and Unforgettable. Those movies I thought were complete garbage, but 10 more movies I thought were worse. But anyways, guys, let's get started. Number 10, Chips. Now, I'm going to be completely honest. I thought this was going to be higher on this list, but for the most part, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be, but it was still really bad. There weren't any poop jokes or fart jokes, but there were a lot of dick jokes and jokes that really did not go anywhere for me. I mean, making a movie about a TV show that I don't think anybody remembers anymore. If people do remember it, that's great. But this isn't the worst TV show based movie of the year. We'll be seeing that in a couple of minutes. But anyways, Chips. It was a bad, unfunny experience, but not as bad as what I thought it would be. I mean, there were some chuckles here and there, but all in all, this is just an awful experience for me. Alright. Number 9, The Snowman. Like, I felt sad inside seeing this movie. I mean, Thomas Alfredson, the director of Let the Right One In, like, really. This was just a rushed movie, with a plot that really was just scattered all over the place and characters that we really didn't care about. And Val Kilmer's dubbing. Like, really, they should have just hired another person because, he had cancer, and I felt bad for the guy, but really, they just put him in the movie even though they had cancer. Like, what were they thinking? But, yeah, The Snowman was a really bad movie. Like, I was just upset after walking out of the movie. I mean, I made it till the end, but, it was just a snore fest. It was boring and didn't have anything going for it. Number 8, Baywatch. I was going to see this in the theaters, but didn't get to. Me and my dad watched it on demand, and oh my god, this was just as bad as we thought it would be. Some people may find this as a guilty pleasure, but I mean, it wasn't the worst movie ever, but really, I had some potential for this movie, but for the most part, it was just what I expected. Some very ridiculous, like sea explosions and stuff like that. I mean, like that scene on the boat and the CGI fire looks fake as hell, but I mean, Dwayne Johnson and Zac Efron couldn't do any good chemistry in this, but I didn't review it because, again, I didn't want to have to suffer talking about it, but Baywatch, yeah, it was more of like a bore watch. I mean, the movie was boring. I mean, I didn't find any enjoyment out of the film. But, yeah, Baywatch is my number 8 spot. Number 7, Wish Upon. Wish Upon isn't higher on this list because the movie made me laugh. I went into the theater seeing this, and I was the only person there, so I could laugh as hard as I want. I mean, this has some of the dumbest kills I've ever seen in a horror film. I mean, it has that Final Destination feel, but the kills were absolutely ridiculous and just flat out not scary. I mean, seriously. Like, for a PG-13 movie, if they got into an R rating, I'm not sure if it would make the movie any better, but it would make it more entertaining. More entertaining. When the people are not being killed, the movie just became boring. I mean, really, it didn't become scary. It didn't become interesting. It was boring as hell. But Wish Upon, yeah, not the worst horror film of the year. You'll be seeing that soon. But yeah, this was just a really bad experience. Number 6, Diary of a Wimpy Kid: The Long Haul. Now, the first 3 movies were actually guilty pleasures for me. And seriously, I had bad feelings there were going to be another movie with a new cast, and my worst fears came true. This movie was unfunny. This is one of the most unfunny family movies I've seen in a long time. Like, there's literally a scene where Roderick and Greg are on like one of those spinny things that look like spaceships, and the bad guy Beardo is chasing after Greg, and Roderick literally pukes out this deep fried butter that he had earlier in a CGI style, and it just flies out in slow motion in a 3D perspective and pops right out of the screen and lands on Beardo. Like, that's not funny. This movie was not funny in the slightest. And really, this has some of the dumbest characters of the year. Like, the Beardo characters, like, seriously. Now, I loved reading the books as a kid, but seriously, did anybody even ask for this? Like, really, it just became painful. I mean, just watching this movie, the movie felt like it was going on and on and on and on and on. Like, when I watched Blade Runner 2049, that movie felt shorter than this. But anyways, yeah, this movie was garbage. I mean, one of the worst live-action family films I've seen in quite a long time. Number 5. Oh boy, yep, I definitely watched this one. The Nut Job 2, Nutty by Nature. Who here asked for this? Who, in the right mind, asked for a sequel? Nobody I knew asked for a sequel. Like, this movie was just as predictable and unfunny as ever. Like, I did not want to see the older characters back. I did not want to see these characters back in another movie. This movie just became flat out predictable, and there was so much destruction and explosions. Had me thinking, did Michael Bay produce this secretly? He was just not credited. And yeah, those little furball white things that don't like to be called cute. Luckily, they're not in the movie that much. They show up like halfway through the movie. Yes, thank God. They're not in the movie that much. Also, near the end of the movie, it has like this emotional thing where we have to care about this one character that almost dies, but I did not feel anything. I was just like, get on with it, pretty much. But yeah, Nut Job 2, Naughty by Nature, is just as bad as I thought, and luckily I didn't suffer through this at the theater, just at home, where I have plenty of room to breathe. Number 4, The Bye-Bye Man. This is, without a doubt, the worst horror film I've seen this year. This is another poorly acted, not scary, abysmal piece of garbage. I mean, for the most part, the kills in this were just also kind of laughable, but the acting is what makes this movie all the more terrible. And the CGI dog that is like in through like these 2 doors, like, seriously, I've seen video games that had much better effects than this. I mean, seriously, I mean, Doug Jones and everybody else do an awful job in that ending. Oh my God, that ending. That was just an awful ending. Like, when me and my dad walked out of the movie, when the movie was over, we were looking at each other going, what the hell was that? Like, seriously. But yeah, The Bye-Bye Man, this was just a really, really bad film that I could easily say is one of the worst horror films I've seen this decade. Number 3, you knew this was coming one way or another. You knew this was coming up. Number 3, Transformers: The Last Night. I had no anticipation for this movie. Given the fact that Anthony Hopkins was in the movie, one of my favorite actors of all time. I mean, his career was going downhill, and it just got more downhill when he was in this movie. I mean, remember when I said this movie wasn't as bad as Age of Extinction? I take it back. This movie's worse than Age of Extinction. I mean, Really, it was just what I expected. This is a rushed, poorly edited, poorly acted, poorly executed movie that was worse than I would have expected. I mean, they have these new characters that in the trailer make you look like that you were supposed to care for them, but I just couldn't care for them. Like the little girl in the movie wasn't even in the movie that much. And the humor was just as lackluster as ever, and it just didn't have anything going for it. And I'm glad that this was the shortest in the series, and I really hope this is the last Michael Bay directed, uh, what should I say, directed, Transformer movie in the series. I mean, because I've had enough of these movies, like, really. Alright. Oh boy, number two. And yeah, guys, this is not a joke. I actually watched this film, 50 Shades Darker. Ugh. Do I need to continue with this? Because I really don't want to continue anymore. But yeah, 50 Shades Darker is worse than the first movie. And the first movie I put as my least favorite movie of 2015. And oh my god. Like, how could the main actress take back the guy that beat her while having sex with him? Take her back. Like, take him back. Like, really. They get proposed. They're getting engaged at the end of the movie, and there were so many scenes that happened that just went nowhere. Like the scene where the guy's in the helicopter and just lands and he's missing, but 5 minutes later he comes back. Whoop-de-doo. Like, really, just wonderful. I mean, seriously, it just went absolutely nowhere. This movie was just painful. I'm glad I watched it for free and didn't have to pay money for Redbox or anything like that. But yeah, 50 Shades Darker, yeah, this movie was bad. I mean, excruciatingly, painfully bad. I mean, the chemistry between these two characters, the couple, went nowhere. I mean, I don't care for these characters at all. Like, seriously. And yeah, 50 Shades Freed, yeah, let's just see how that goes. It's not going to be any better. I'm pretty sure it's not. Alright, guys, I bet every single dollar that I have that you knew what was going to be at number one. This was obviously a no-brainer what number one was going to be. I knew as soon as you clicked on this video, you were like, this movie's going to be number one. This movie's going to be number one. This is no-brainer. You knew what was coming up. You knew it. I mean, almost everybody that I know has put this on their worst movie of the year list as number one. And here we go. Number one. The worst movie of 2017 is the Emoji Movie. You knew it. I mean, I wasn't the only one that put this movie as a number one. Watch Mojo did, Chris Stuckman did, almost every single one of my friends, I put this as number one. But do I really have to say anything? I've talked about this movie way too much. I mean, this is one of the worst movies I have ever seen, and I'm not lying about that. I mean, I thought Norm of the North was the worst film I've seen, or worst animated movie I've seen in the theaters, but this was far worse, believe it or not. I mean, it's a movie about emojis. That's all you need to know. But no, this movie was poorly edited and has this message that really... How can we care about the message that the movie's trying to bring out when the film is just nothing but pure, unfunny garbage? I mean, you have this talented cast: T.J. Miller, Patrick Stewart as the poop, and who else? Anna Faris, James Corden. All these actors, like, what the hell were they doing in this? Like, oh my god. But yeah, Emoji Movie, you have been my worst movie of the year since I first saw you. Congratulations. You were my pick for the worst movie of 2017. I just suffered enough right now, guys. Like, seriously. You know what? I'm glad that I don't have to see another bad movie of this year, because really, it just got on my nerve. Just talking about these movies were just... it was just painful to have to sit through talking about these movies with you guys. But all in all, I'm done talking about these movies. So, anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for another great year of movies. I mean, there were some bad films, but there were some truly amazing films as well. Check back on my picks for the best movies of 2017, and hopefully you won't have to think about this thing that I was talking about the worst movies of the year. But yeah. Anyways, I'm just gonna stop talking now and just end the video off here. So yeah, see you guys later. Word out.